guys, so today I'm going to be talking about how to survive college. For anyone who doesn't know, I am a second semester senior currently in a creative writing program. And through my experience just on campus in classes in the last 4 years, I feel like I've acquired a lot of knowledge about just how to survive college but still learn and get what you want out of college. I will admit that this is going to be from a more like artistic perspective. So if you are in a major that is based heavily in like memorization and so if you're a bio major who's constantly just like learning new terms and how to do things in lab, this might not be as applicable to you, but this definitely works for English, creative writing, linguistics, probably like some stuff like poli-sci, I'd imagine. But anyone who has to do a lot of reading, and then instead of just regurgitating what you're reading, you have to apply it. I also want to quickly mention that this is hair from 2 days ago. This face has no makeup on it. This hat is on because the top of my head looks ridiculous right now and it's all curly and slept on because I didn't brush my hair today before going to class. But this is the reality of college. I don't wear makeup every day and I don't wear a cute outfit every day. During finals week, like my professor is lucky if I show up to class in the clothes that aren't what I slept in. And that's the reality of college. Don't let like people on social media convince you that they do wear something cute to class every day. So don't let like what they're putting out there ruin your expectations of what you can do in college. I guess to start off, the biggest thing that I want to say is make sure that you like what you're doing, and that applies to both major and your extracurriculars. I know that if I was studying something other than creative writing and something that was not artistic in any way, that I wouldn't be able to make it through college. That wouldn't work for me at all. Just make sure you like what you're doing, because otherwise you're going to be suffering so much more. And if you are unable to pursue what you like to do due to money issues or what programs are available at the school that you're at or like different things, somehow cater it to what you like to do. Because that'll just make things much more bearable overall. When you get super, super busy, there will be things then that don't feel like work that are work, and your busy weeks won't feel quite as much like hell. My second note, ride your productivity highs. When you are in a mood where you're going, just keep going until it ends. Don't be like, I deserve a break at this point. Don't take that break unless you've lost the productivity high. If you need to eat, if you need to go fill your water bottle, why did I just reverse my numbers? Take a break for things that matter, like going pee and filling your water bottle and eating, and if you've got a meeting you need to go to, the next class you need to go to. If you're feeling productive and you are able to be doing work, don't take a break for no reason. I feel like we have a high culture of like, you deserve a break, you deserve to go on Tumblr, go on YouTube and watch a video. And that's so true if you need those breaks in what you're doing, but don't force those breaks on yourself. And also just, when you are working, keep working. And if it stops working, that's when you take a break. And along that same line of thought, do your homework after class. Like, we all get into these ruts of leaving our homework until the very, very last minute before class, finishing it in the hallway beforehand, finishing it during class. I did my homework during class a couple days ago. There's my cat. It's a different one than the one that appeared in another video. I've got two. We all get into these bad habits of doing our homework at the last minute, but like if you have time after class, if you don't have anywhere you need to be, you don't need to go home and eat lunch because you haven't eaten food yet today. Like if you're not in one of those situations, do your homework right after class. Like go find somewhere in that academic building and go get your reading done, because you just were reminded about it by your professor probably. You're in the proper mood for that class. Because I run into it where when I come out of a writing class and when I've just done a workshop or we've written silently for like 30 minutes of class, that is my best time to write because I'm in the mood. And so if I don't keep riding that high of like wanting to write or being in that productive mood, it'll die. Like if I go home, it's already dead. You need to do it then. So ride your highs, especially if you're in a class that applies things. Like if you're in a class that's like math or science where you're learning things that need to be applied and then performed later, that is your best bet, is to practice those things right after class, and then it'll stick in your memory better. And then along this same line of thought, Figure out where and when you study best. I used to think like, oh, I write best at like 2 in the morning. In the last couple of years, I've realized, no, I write the best at 10 a.m. I get up, I eat a breakfast, I drink a cup of coffee, and if I write right after that, it's the best time for me to write. So figure out when you are able to like channel your productivity the best. Because if you have a time that works best for you, if you have a place that works best for you, if you need silence, don't study in your dorm lounge. Don't study when all of your roommates are home. Go to the library. My sister's somebody who needs to study in like absolute silence, and so she always goes to the library. I'm somebody where silence isn't good, so I study in the campus coffee shop, and I study at home with records going, and I always have background music, and I play movie soundtracks and video game soundtracks, because both are meant to make you enthralled with the subject matter it's going along with. So if you play it while you're doing homework, then it makes you enthralled with the homework and it keeps you going. I know people where the best environment for them to do homework is with other people, because if you're all studying and keeping each other accountable, that's the best way for them. So just figure out what works for you, and then if the way that works for you involves other people, find other people that work the way you do. And I guess that kind of leads into another point of mine. Make sure that you are keeping people around you who are focused on college in the same way you are. So if you have friends who are more focused on Greek life or on the fact that they are in theater productions than on their actual classes, those are the kind of people who deter you from your own work. Not that those people can't be your friends, but make sure they're not your closest friends. Because you need to be able to hang out with somebody and not have them be like, oh, but stick around. You need people who is like, oh, you've got homework to do? Okay, I'll see you later. If your number one is academics, your closest friends, number one should also be academics, because then they'll understand why you're not going out tonight, and they'll understand why you're going home at 11 and going to bed because you've got a 7:30 a.m. class tomorrow, instead of staying up with them and doing whatever you're doing and skipping class tomorrow morning. My next point has to do with homework. So I feel like there's so many professors who think that for some reason their class is the only class you're taking, and like that's never true of anybody unless you're like a part-time student. And so like with that, college has become very unrealistic with the amount of homework they expect you to be able to get done in a very limited amount of time. And this is especially true of weeks like midterms and finals. So because of these really high expectations with what professors think that you can get done, but you honestly don't have time for, figure out a way to balance your schedule so that you have classes where you can't fake anything and you have classes where you can fake things. And this is gonna sound like I'm the worst student ever, but I promise you I have a good GPA and I'm gonna graduate. And so figure out the classes where you have to do all the work and you have to show up to class every day. And then figure out the classes where you can skim the reading or not even do the reading, and you can maybe fake some assignments and you can skip classes sometimes and things along those lines. And then if you have equal balance of these in the same semester, if it's possible within your major as well, but if you have equal balance of these within the same semester, you won't die. So with things like skimming the reading, with textbooks, you can really get away a lot of times with reading the first sentence of the paragraph, the last sentence of the paragraph, and skimming the middle. And then for things like having to read novels in class, or reading like classical works, things with like philosophers and things like that, use Schmoop. I'll put how you spell it on the screen somewhere, because I feel like that's weird to sound out. But use Schmoop. I have gotten through a lot of classes with Schmoop. It's also really good for if you have to read a novel for class that you don't like. So it's really hard to encourage yourself to open it up and read for like 2 hours because you have 100 pages of reading to do. But with Schmoop, you can read a summary and you can read analysis of the characters and you can read analysis of the plot. So it literally gives you talking points for class. So you still get your participation credit and you still know what's going on, and you can honestly sometimes write a paper without having actually read the book because you read Schmoop and you didn't have to read the book you hated. And so just figure out how to do that balance. You can also figure out that balance by using Rate My Professor, which is, if you don't know, a website where people review professors, and so they can talk about how hard they are, how lecture heavy they are, if you can skip class, if you have to do the reading. And so you can figure out which professors to take for certain classes. So you can basically stack your schedule with the easiest professors. Like I have a class right now where the reading takes me like 20 minutes because I skim it, and then my assignment takes me like 5 minutes to write, and I roll up to class 3 days a week, and I'm not really putting in any effort, but I'm probably going to get an A. And I don't need the information from this class, and it doesn't matter towards exactly what I want to do with my degree, which is why I'm willing to just like BS it like that. But if classes like are exactly pertaining to what you want to do with your degree, don't do that. Those are the kind of things you'll regret. So put your all into the classes that really matter for what you want to do with your life, or that really, really interest you. And then the classes that you have to take just because of how your program works, or because you're at a liberal arts school or something like that and they're required, figure out how to do skimming and skipping class and stuff with the classes that aren't going to affect your future as heavily. Okay. So then as far as self-care goes, I feel like self-care is something that gets completely thrown out the window in college because people are like, but I have homework. No, still do self-care. I run into so many of my classmates who don't eat regularly, never drink water. They lock themselves in the libraries for like 12 hours straight and they don't have any sustenance with them. And so you're gonna feel like a piece of shit if you do that. So I feel like the biggest things are to eat something for breakfast. It doesn't matter if that is a granola bar, if that is an apple, if that is a singular banana. Just eat something, because if you get your metabolism started, your body's going to feel better than having fasted for the time you went to bed until you decide to eat lunch, which could be at 3 p.m. So eat something for breakfast. What I do a lot, because I drink coffee every single morning, is I put the Carnation instant breakfast, like meal replacement stuff, in my coffee. So I'm getting my caffeine so that I'm awake and I'm ready for my first class, along with a meal essentially. And then that'll tide me over for like 3 hours until I can have lunch. So even if you don't have a lot of time in the morning, a lot of professors in majors and departments outside of science will let you eat in class. One, make sure you ask if you can eat in class before you just start eating in class, because some professors do find it really disrespectful. My cats are playing under the door apparently. Set aside time for lunch. If you are planning your schedule from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., all booked solid with meetings and classes and no time to even sit down and eat a sandwich you made this morning and put in your backpack, you have a problem. That's not going to be a sustainable schedule. Just make sure that you get to refuel your body at some point during your day. And I guess that kind of plays into another point I want to make, which is to stack your schedule. The worst thing is having a class and then going back to your dorm or apartment and then having to find it within yourself to go back to campus again for another class. Don't take classes where it's like, oh, there's 3 sections. I could take one that's right after the class that I go to first thing in the morning, and then I'd have 2 classes in a row and be able to go home for the rest of the day. Or I can take a 10 a.m. class and I'll take a 3 p.m. class and you have a giant chunk in the middle. Stack your classes back to back, or put only a 1-hour break in between or something like that, so you'll want to stay on campus and you can just do homework during that time or eat during that time, because it's a lot easier to go to your next class when you're already on campus and not like laying in your bed at home or watching TV or something like that. And so basically stay on campus for a reasonable amount of time via your classes. Point summarized. And then going back to self-care and eating, drink water. Just please drink water. There's fountains across campus. Reusable water bottles aren't that expensive. Just invest in one. Wash it once a week. You don't have to wash it every day. That's some BS. And just refill it. Drink water throughout your day. If you have to, download one of the apps. I just downloaded, I can't remember the name of it. The one where you grow the little plants when you drink water. I'll link it in the description. But download an app like that maybe, where it reminds you, and it also tells you how much water you should be drinking every day. But honestly, this semester I've gotten a lot better with drinking water, and it's made a huge difference. I wake up so much easier. I feel like I have so much more energy throughout the day. And it's just really, really great. So just please drink water. And then going along with more on food, if you live off campus and you don't have a meal plan, leftovers are your best friend. Make a big meal on the night of the week that you have time, whether that be over the weekend on Sunday night. Because if you can just microwave something, you're a lot more likely to eat real food. rather than just like snack and then go back to doing homework. Like if you can spend 5 minutes microwaving something to eat versus having to make an entire meal, it's better than skipping that meal entirely. And so just make sure that you have easy meals and leftovers. Easy meals are things like buying those pre-made like rice packets that you can microwave, and then buying like canned chicken. Now you have protein and you have grains, and you probably have like beans, and then you can throw some vegetables in and like saute it into the rice, and now you have like an entire meal, and it took you like 20 minutes. And so easy meals. Also canned soup, because broth is so good for you, and you can find soups that have protein and carbohydrates and all kinds of things in them. So canned soup is something I eat a lot. Also pasta salad, if you can just like spend like a couple hours making pasta salad on the weekends, it's a great packed lunch. Other things, don't retake professors you don't like. That will make your life miserable. I have professors that I literally like blacklist in my mind. I'm like, I will never take their class again. Hopefully your college is big enough that you can do that. Mine is just barely big enough I can. But if you didn't like a professor, if you didn't learn well from them, if they don't teach in a way that works for you, if the two of you butt heads all the time, don't take them again. Just do yourself a favor, never take them again if you can. And if you're forced to, and try and make the best of it. But don't be like, well, I guess. Like, no, just don't do it. I feel like that's a really stupid thing to say, but like, please don't do it to yourself. During really, really busy weeks, like midterm and finals, you have to figure out how to survive with very little sleep, high workload, and tons of stress. And yes, it's horrendous and it's not sustainable. Do not use these tips every single week of college. That is not what I'm recommending. These are my ways that I get through things like midterm and finals week, when I have to write like 50 pages of papers and my life is a mess. So the first thing, figure out what kind of caffeine works for you and buy a lot of it. For me, if I drink the Starbucks double espresso shot energy drinks, slowly, don't chug those things. Never chug those things. Your heart will beat super fast and you'll start sweating and you won't know what to do with yourself. I drink those slowly and it gives me solid high energy to get through assignments and classes and stuff. Like it'll keep you awake, it'll keep you alert, and you'll be able to keep going, and then let yourself crash when you need to crash. That's a big thing during finals week. Don't just keep going. You have to find time to crash. So if you get 4 hours of sleep 3 nights in a row, and now it's Thursday and you only have one final today and one final tomorrow and you're almost to the end, crash on Thursday for a while. Take a nap, drink a bunch of water, eat a real meal for the first time in 4 days, and then you have to go back into it. Also learn how to master the power nap. I've been doing this thing called coffee naps that I saw online, where you drink a cup of coffee and then you take a 30-minute nap. So while you're napping, the coffee is kicking in for those 30 minutes. So the coffee helps you wake up. So you've had like the power nap energy boost on top of the coffee kicking in. And so you wake up, you don't feel groggy for very long afterwards, and you just go. Also, during weeks like finals week, water is more important than ever because you're doing so much to your body already. Drinking water will help you a ton. Make sure that you are giving yourself as many reprieves from all of the work as you can. So what I like to do is I give myself an allotted amount of time or a goal. So either it'll be like, okay, do this many minutes of reading, this many pages of reading, or finish this assignment. And when I finish that, I get a reward. So I'm training myself like a dog, but it's fine. And that reward can be like a YouTube video, the next like chunk of an episode of a show. So like watch from like the commercial break to commercial break. And so you might do your next chunk of reading faster or your next homework assignment faster because you're like, oh, I'm so excited to get to that show. If there's something that's exciting for you to do, if you have a really fun project, a really fun essay that you're enjoying because you like love your thesis, whatever it is, space that out as your reward, so then your reward is still productive. And also work ahead of time on things you're excited about. So just make sure that you are being cognizant of the things like that where you can work ahead or get them done quickly and you're not like putting yourself into a rut. And then the last point that I want to bring up about college is to live with no regrets. And I don't mean that in a like, go to that party, get wasted kind of way. I mean that in take the classes that are only available once and that you will think about for the rest of your life if you never took them and you wonder what you would have learned. Become friends with that person that you have a friend crush on and you're like, oh man, I really wish that I like took the chance to become their friend when we were in that class together, and now like it'll be creepy if I message them on Facebook. Like, just become friends with them when you can. Join the organizations you want to join. It's really easy to test out organizations, especially clubs, because you can show up to, you know, the informational meeting and the first couple, you know, meetings of the club, and if you don't like it, you don't have to go back. And it'll be a little awkward if you see some of them on campus, but it's fine. Everybody understands. You can just be like, I got too busy. I didn't realize how busy I would be this semester. And everybody's like, okay. But just like try out the things you want to try out. Do the things that you want to do within reason. So if your friends are all getting together for something and you're like, oh, but I have a test tomorrow, go for an hour. And like, if you have to set a timer on your phone for the time that you are going to leave and go back and study for that test, at least you still went for a little bit. You got to be a part of the fun, and you're still going to miss out a little bit. But like, there's the balance of doing what you want to do and doing what you need to do. And make sure you're doing what you want to do and you're not coming out of college with a bunch of regrets about never having a social life and not having the friends you wished you had and not taking the classes that you wish you had, and, you know, not becoming cool buds with that professor that you were like, man, I want to be you someday. Like, just do the things that you want to do within reason. Don't blame me for the fact that you get arrested next week, okay? I mean, do the things that are going to make your life happier, and you're going to leave college being like, I made the most of that experience. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I plan on doing more college advice videos. So if you want to see more of those, please subscribe. Leave any questions in the comments. If you have questions about anything I've said, just let me know, and subscribe for more. Thanks. Bye.